Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? This is your boy Isaac.
And this is your boy Bryce.
And we are brothers on tennis. And folks, we've got a special discussion for you today. We've got our boy on the show with us, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have recently happened in LA, specifically the wildfires that spread across the Southern California area. And Bryce, you and I have known Mike T for a very long time. Looking forward to having this chat with him. I will pass it to you to do a very high level, of course, and then we'll dip into this.
Yeah, like you said, we have been very fortunate and blessed with Brothers on Tennis to have a number of supporters over the last couple of years. And there's not been a supporter that's been more vocal and more there for us than Mike Tomas. It's unfortunate when situations happen that are out of our control and have a wide range of impact. And Mike is going to talk about something that you've all heard about, but maybe you don't know some of the details. And just for background, in case you don't know who Mike is, who we affectionately call Mike T, he is the director of tennis at the Palisades Tennis Center. He also has responsibilities for running the public courts there in Westwood and Cheviot Hills. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and bring him on up and introduce him to everyone. Brothers on Tennis family, this is Mike T.
Hey, everybody. Isaac, Bryce, thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely, Mike. Definitely want to talk with you. We were able to share some time, of course, during Indian Wells. And it's always great seeing you, hanging out with you. We do know that, again, you being the director of tennis at the Palisades, we had the fires that went through the Pacific Palisades area. Just give the folks and the viewers and listeners a little bit of background just on the impact that it has had, not only on you, but on the tennis center.
Yeah, I mean, it was an international story, right? The fires in LA, made international headlines. Obviously, a lot of devastation. Many homes burned down in the Pacific Palisades and Altadena specifically. It was tough, dark days in LA. Those days, it almost felt like all of LA was burning down. And in our particular case, the Palisades did kind of burn down, and along with it, unfortunately, the Palisades Tennis Center pro shop that was there. So, it was very shocking. It was disturbing. It was hard to process because, if someone's home burns down, that's just an awful, terrible, horrendous thing. But when a whole neighborhood burns down, you're just kind of like, you don't know where to begin to start to think and imagine, the magnitude of the tragedy. And for me, I've been up there in the Pacific Palisades since 2008, working at the tennis center. And, I've known so many families and so many wonderful people that have just come through that tennis center. And a lot of locals, obviously, it's a local public park there. And so to start to think about all the people whose homes have burned down and all the devastation, it's kind of hard to wrap my brain around it. And as it was unfolding, it was very, very shocking, as I'm sure it was to most people who saw those images. But I guess when it's directly you, it just feels, it's hard to describe how terrible it feels.
So, Mike, the first question I have, and I apologize for going back to this moment, but when the fires were actually occurring, where were you? I mean, were you in the area? Were you watching on TV?
Good question. I was at a meeting at Westwood doing a review for a coach. And so we were just about to sit down. It was a 10:30 meeting, and put my phone on DND, but noticed that I was getting a call from the tennis center. So picked it up, and it was my director of tennis, Cole Miller, who was there. And he said, hey, there's a lot of smoke coming over the hill here. It's pretty disturbing. And, just so you gentlemen know, that area's had a history of fires, and in that neighborhood even, but into Malibu, into those canyons, that little pocket of the world, unfortunately. And so, there's concern. And so he sounded concerned. We were in the middle of running some programming, some clinics that were due to end around 11. So I said, all right, well, can you finish? Yeah, we'll finish at 11. I was like, all right, you finish at 11, call me back, keep me posted. And so that's what happened. So I went on with my Westwood meeting, and then Cole called me back, and he was like, man, it looks really bad. And I was like, pack everybody up, close the shop down, and, get on out of there, get everybody out of there. Because, for some of the viewers that are watching, for you guys to understand, the Palisades it's like a little enclave, but it's not that easy to get in and out of there, in the canyons there. So, traffic can get bad. And unfortunately, we all saw that's what happened. People got stuck up there, in the danger. So we told them to get on out of there as quickly as they could. And that's what they did. And I think, none of us thought that would be the last time we would see the shop as we knew it. They closed the shop down 11 o'clock that Tuesday morning. And, later that evening, I was watching the news, and sure enough, the shop was on fire on the news at the park there. And then, I think a lot of people in the tennis community have seen the pictures of the burned out shop and just that kind of front facade standing there with the tennis center, name on it. And, I think, again, it was a terrible thing. It was our tennis shop. It was, our center base for the community tennis. But, this also happened to thousands of people's homes where they left and they thought, oh yeah, someone's going to come up here and hopefully put this fire out and save the neighborhood, and I'll just come back. And, it's so painful to hear the stories of people. I'm thinking of one of our patrons in particular who I saw weeks later, who told me, I went back into the house with my wife. I grabbed some photos and my tennis rackets.
Wow.
And never saw any of his possessions ever again. And he was playing a live ball clinic for us at Cheviot when I saw him again. And he was wearing brand new tennis sneakers and a brand new tennis outfit, because he didn't have that, but he had his rackets. And he kind of communicated to me that was the importance to him, was his family heirlooms, his photos, and his tennis rackets. So, here we are. We're, you guys, we're part of this tennis community. And so, tennis has played such an important role in everybody's lives. And so, that day, things changed so much for so many people. But like I said, for the tennis community, it would never be the same again. The shop burned down, and so did a lot of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just devastating.
Man, Mike, at what point were you all allowed to kind of go back to the actual facility and kind of scope out the impact of what happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's, another great question. So, the whole thing was just really such a mess, and everyone was scattered about. And, if you guys remember, the fires were going on still. That was Tuesday, January 7th. Stuff was still burning down on the 8th and the 9th. So it was really crazy. And, all of these people that I've known, they were all scattered about. My business partner that helped me run the tennis center, his home burned down there. So, really focusing on people's lives, trying to, where they were and if they were okay. And, there's been some articles written about how a lot of the Palisadians gathered at some nearby hotels, and people went to friends and family nearby. So, it was so hard for all of them. I'm not sure when the residents really started to get back up there, but like the images that we've seen, somebody took that picture of the burned down tennis center, and there were emergency workers up there. And so, seeing the devastation, seeing it on the news, and then getting, kind of these images circulated around, like that photo of the shop popped up on my phone, the next day. And it was like, wow, like it was just crazy. Just so you guys know, I have not been back up there. I've been on FaceTime with some Palisades residents, but I have not gone back up yet. For a long time, you needed a special permission. You needed to be a resident. They were allowing people to go up and look at where their property was or check to see if their home was still standing. And so I felt like, obviously, running a business there is an important thing, but people's homes are the most important. So they had the priority to go back. And then a couple of weeks ago, one of our patrons who played there a lot, he managed to get back up and hit on those courts. And so that was on our Instagram, and that was kind of special and also gave us hope and was kind of a silver lining, right? Or, this light at the end of the tunnel for all of us that, well, look, wow, the courts are actually still playable. The shop might have burned down. The courts are playable. Let's get back up there as quick as we can and resume, get our lives back, get tennis back in the neighborhood and get the neighborhood back. So I'm kind of still waiting for my chance to go up. For me, as someone that works there, a little bit tricky because since it's a public park and there's the Los Angeles Department of Parks and Recs, I would sort of have to be included in that visiting group of park people to go up. So hasn't happened yet.
So what would you say, as in your position as director of tennis and the other responsibilities you have, what was in your mind, what did you think about was, this is the first step I need to take, or this is the first action that I need to take in my official capacity?
Another great question. The first thing I thought about, and honestly in my mind, was, the shop burned down. My kids and my wife saw pictures. My kids started crying. People were upset, but really the first thing was, it's a tennis shop, and so people's homes burned down too. So to me, that resonated. That hit me harder, believe it or not, than the tennis shop. So I think I was a little bit in shock, but very quickly I thought, I need to keep my coaches working. I need to keep people working. And any people that got out of there that have been scattered about, they may want to get back on the tennis court like real soon, because as we all know, as tennis lovers and players of tennis, you feel great when you're on the court and it takes your mind off of, bad things. And sometimes you need to be in that place where you're just playing the game and not thinking about anything else. So I thought, whatever you want to call it, mental therapy, tennis mental therapy, just let's get as many people we can back on the court, get coaches working again as quickly as possible. So I had my guy Cole and my guy Ish, who you guys know very well, immediately just start to reconfigure classes and change the programming at the other locations and try to cast this net out there and try to catch whoever we could to try to get them to get on the courts and start playing again and get coaches working again. Now, of course, you guys remember afterwards, not a lot was functioning yet in LA. People had to evacuate and there was, air quality concerns. So we couldn't just jump right back out there. But the first steps, Bryce, were how can we keep people playing? How can we keep coaches working? And let's keep going. Just because the pro shop burned down, let's keep things going, because I'm not letting the PTC go out like that, guys. I'm not going to let that happen. So in order to get back, we need to survive first. So those were the first instincts.
I love that. I mean, honestly, Mike, that's exactly, the mindset that I would have expected, especially from you, is thinking about how do we keep our people, going? How do we keep them employed? How do we keep them engaged? And what you said is so true. Getting people on the courts, that is mental therapy. It absolutely is. Because when you love the game like we do, being out on those courts really helps to kind of block out all of those things that, that worry us, if you will, especially something like this. What I will ask, Mike, is I know that, again, this is a global event that happened. There were a lot of eyes that were on this particular issue, as well as what happened at the Palisades. Talk about the tennis community as a whole and how they reached out, and what are some of the things that have happened in your journey to, I guess, get things back going at PTC.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like you said, just a little added note there that maybe the only thing better than being on the tennis court is helping other people get on the tennis court. That's sort of how I feel about it. Like, I'm so happy when people are out there playing. It's just great. But yes, a lot of people reached out. I had a lot of people, hit me up that night. Oh my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is just terrible. Like, no way. The Palisades Tennis Center, the history of that facility is such a grand one. It's such a storied legacy that there was just so many people just hit me up. But the one person in particular I'm going to talk about is Gigi, right? So our wonderful friend, Gigi Fernandez, who I always say isn't just a tennis Hall of Famer. She's a Hall of Fame person, not just a Hall of Fame tennis player. She reached out to me very quickly. And, Gigi has been through a lot. She's from Puerto Rico. She's from an island that has been devastated by natural disasters and other, economic circumstances. And then, unfortunately for Gigi, her house was lost in Hurricane Milton last year. And so she's been through so much that, being the beautiful soul that she is, she just reached out to me and she was like, I want to help. And, I've been through a lot, and I set up this Tennis for Hope Foundation, and, it's there for people in the tennis community that need help. And so here I am, Mike. So, and, Gigi and I are history. Gigi runs these amazing clinics and camps. She has her own method. One of the first ones she ever did was at PTC back in 2018. The special guests of the event were, Gigi Fernandez and Tommy Haas were at that event, and it was amazing to have them there. And so, we've had this connection through tennis, and for me, what an honor, what a privilege, to be around a Hall of Famer, a 17-time Grand Slam champion. Gigi reached out, and to be honest with you, I was like in this survival mode. I was kind of like, I need to keep people working. We need to keep, the programming, Gigi. And she's just like, okay, but I'm here. And so a couple of weeks later, she hit me again. She's like, I went ahead and did it without you, Mike. I'm doing it anyway. So, I was kind of waiting for you to respond. And I'm like, here I am kind of just trying to deal with the daily stuff and, keep things going. And Gigi is such an amazing person that she just went ahead and set up, the foundation and started to go out and raise money. And she talked, she worked closely with Pam Shriver, who is very well connected to the Palisades community, and both Hall of Famers. As you guys know, you guys were there for the check presentation. And so Pam and Gigi went around, and they went to the Tennis Hall of Fame, and they went to the USTA, and they went to the WTA, and they started raising money. And, just what incredible people, what an amazing effort. And like Pam said, that's what the tennis community does for each other. They help each other in times of need. They're kind of always there for each other. And as you guys know, since you're part of this community, even at the top level, everybody sort of feels connected, so, it's pretty amazing. In some ways it's a international global community, but some other ways it feels very small and tight knit. And so they came to the rescue and started to raise money, and we're still doing it. And just so you guys know that, the LA, fire tennis rebuild is also being shared with Altadena, which that community, also was devastated by the fires and lost, the tennis community as well, had losses. And so what Gigi is doing through her foundation and the WTA Foundation is helping her with that, is for the Palisades and Altadena both, which is wonderful.
That is awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up because, first of all, we were very honored that you invited us to that check presentation ceremony. For those of you that are watching, For those of you that are watching this video, once we finish this interview, you will see we captured some footage from that check presentation ceremony, so you'll get an opportunity to see it yourself. And Mike, I know you're a very proud guy and all, but for those that are watching this and just have this desire to want to help and to contribute, are there any sites or that you could recommend that they go to if they want to donate or help in any way to the LA Fire Tennis Rebuild?
Absolutely. I mean, it's Gigi's site. So Gigi Fernandez, I believe, .com. But if you just Google Gigi Fernandez and then her Tennis for Hope Foundation, there's links right on there. And then under success stories, there's what's called the Palisades Tennis Center activation. So that there's a link to donate right there. So thank you. Thanks, Bryce, for bringing that up. If people out there that are watching this and listening, feel so compelled to help out, to help the tennis community in LA, that would be the place to go to donate some money. And, we will definitely put it to good use, because bringing back the tennis community in these areas is going to help bring those neighborhoods back. So it's a very important cause.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And Mike, anything additional that you would want to kind of share with our listeners and or viewers just in regards to PTC and or any other area that you kind of want to mention?
Thanks. I think you guys covered just about all of it, except for maybe the future. We don't really know what the future holds, right? For anybody, but for PTC, we are trying to make a push to get back there sooner than later. We really would like to be up there maybe as early as the summer. It really depends on some of the conditions and, how things go. I think with the safety, factors, but the courts are playable and we'd love to be up there. And, of course, if we do, I hope you guys, can come up there and, be part of some kind of reopening. I guess at some point there'll be new facilities at that park and there'll be an official grand reopening. But if we can get up there in kind of a phase 1 before that phase 2, that would be incredible. And anybody who donates to Gigi's foundation would help us with that, because it would cover some of the costs of doing some of the things we need to get back, up into the Palisades and start getting people on the courts and playing again. And so that's hopefully in the near term future and not too far in the distant future.
Gotcha. And for our audience, we will include links to the Tennis for Hope site in the notes on this video. But, Mike, we just thank you for taking time to come out and to share your story as to how, you experienced this tragedy in Southern California and have given us some direction in terms of how we can help with the rebuild process. So we thank you for coming on today.
You guys are amazing. Thanks so much for taking the time to have me on and to help me share the story. There's nothing better than hanging out with the brothers. You guys know that. So I'm on the record for officially saying that. You guys know that's the truth.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. We appreciate you very much, Mike T. And thank you again. And folks, just FYI, there's a lot more to Mike T. We are going to have him on a future podcast where we talk more about him, specifically his background and his tennis lineage. So know that there will be more coming from Mike T. But for now, Mike, once again, thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you out there to everybody who's supported us.
All right. And with that, that's been us from Brothers on Tennis. Please help if you can. Everyone take care, and we'll see you soon.
And if this isn't a testament to how tennis comes together, Gigi has started her own foundation, Tennis for Hope, and saw from Pam sent the pictures of some of the devastation And the pictures of, and this is Mike from the Palisades Tennis Center, it's completely burned down. I mean, nothing.
Yeah, the
Courts,
shop,
the
yeah.
courts are okay.
Courts are okay.
It's remarkable to see the pictures. Pam was showing them today. No houses, no nothing, but yet the courts are like sacred ground or something. It was,
PTC miracle.
I mean, goosebump worthy.
Yeah.
So, Gigi, you don't mind me sharing about the hurricane?
No, it's
All right. So, Florida, we live in Florida. Gigi lives in Florida, Tampa. Gigi lost everything in the hurricane. She lost her
Almost
cars.
Get your volleys.
Get my volleys.
She lost her cars. The house was gutted. The most precious things were saved, which is her
Yes.
family.
Yes.
And
The gold medals.
but for
Trophies.
just a testament to the thought process of wanting to help everyone that had lost in the fire. So Gigi turned that around, as a champion does, and has raised $50,000 to help LA Fire Tennis Rebuild, which is helping the tennis community rebuild itself in the LA area. And we're teaming up with her foundation. Her fund is run through the WTA Foundation, so she's in the process of starting her charity and getting it registered, but she couldn't wait.
Didn't want to wait.
Because
forever.
tennis players are impatient and focused and determined. So she called and said, "Can we figure something out?" And we're like, "Of course." And so we did. So I hand it over to you, Gigi,
Thank you.
because your amazing spirit in this.
Thank you. So yeah, Tennis for Hope was born out of that devastation in my house. But the important thing is that we're trying to unite the tennis community in helping people who have been affected by natural disasters. So when this disaster happened so close after the Florida hurricanes, I just wanted to do something. And the WTA Foundation and Anne stepped up, and we have a fiscal sponsorship agreement, so our money can go through them until we get our 501c3 status, which we applied for, but takes 6 to 9 months. And then my personal story with the Palisades Tennis Center is that I did one of my very first clinics there with Brian Fox, who is trying to get in here. Oh, he's here, Brian! Come
on, Brian.
I made it. So Brian is one of my pros that I've known for 10 years that comes to all my camps, and so he brought me to the Palisades Tennis Center, which is how I met Mike and
No, Brian.
there. So when I saw that, it just seemed like a logical place to start. And then we found out later that Altalina also had need, and we're trying to figure that part out. But we're super happy also that Lindsay Davenport, who was affected by the hurricanes, is on the board, and Pam, who's affected by the fires, is on the board, and Lindsay and Tracy Elton agreed to be on the board yesterday. So just trying to unite sort of the tennis community and helping people that aren't as fortunate as we are. Thank you to Anne for putting all this together. It's been a lot of work and a lot of effort.
Takes a village. Sharka, Ashley, Cloda. Where's Cloda? I mean, it takes a village. So, but we will
Thank you.
present.
Oh, and of course, I forgot to mention Trevor.
That's okay.
USC's Southern Cal also donated to the effort. The International Tennis Hall of Fame donated to the effort. WTA Foundation, and we have a couple of donors as well.
Gigi knows how to get
Yeah.
pockets opened and money
Well, it's a
in.
good cause. You know, when it's a good cause, it's easy. So.
Well, thank you. Pam, did you want to say anything? You lived through it.
Well, Gigi, great to connect the dots with natural disasters that happen all over the world. I know when we travel to tour, 2 or 3 times a year, I feel like we get pretty close to a region like Australia through the years with fires. And, on January 7th, it hit very close to home. My kids went to most of their school years in the Palisades. I lived in the house in Upper Bundy Canyon with the court, lived in the Palisades. My kid's dad, who I'm in charge of his care, he lost his residence in the Palisades. And most of my kids' friends, they had in school, don't have a house. And as Ann mentioned, my court's been open since COVID, 4.5 years for a group of kids that Alexander Stevenson coaches. And about half the kids who've been playing on my court for 4.5 years have lost their house. So every place you turn, somebody's going through something really difficult. So we all got to come together, and Gigi's doing that. And tennis, we're famous for this. Southern Cal Tennis Association, USTA, WTA, we're all here to help. and thanks for bringing it all together so quickly. So a lot of great work.
You guys have taught me all about the tenacity of tennis.
You don't get out easily, that's for sure.
And the Palisades Tennis Center will be back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Pretty amazing, huh?
Did you know them?
I do know
Head of the
them.
courts?
Yeah, they went and had a little hit.
The story
Renegade.
behind that was that they went up there to go see what was going on, and a sergeant from the Army Corps Engineers was like, "You can't come up here." And one of the gentlemen said, "This was my life for every day." And the guy's like, "Come with me." And the sergeant actually filmed that footage on the court of them hitting me. So, you know, when it's personal and individual like that, it's, you know, it shows how much it matters. And these are all these families that were affected, you know, so many. I've been up there 17 years, you guys know that, and just so tough to think of all the people that lost their homes. My heart goes out to them, you know, blessings to their families. And I also want to thank Gigi, of course, for everything that she's done here. And thank you so much, Trevor, for being here. Brian, amazing. Pam, thank you so much. I also want to recognize my guys, Ish and Josh, that run the Rancho facility. These guys are incredible. They work so hard. And we will be back. And this helps a lot. And having the park back means so much to that neighborhood and community. So it is a key for us to try to recover and rebuild everything there. So thank you all so much, everyone here, for all your support, especially you.
Thank you.